Disney versus Universal, the longtime heavyweight champion versus the underdog. Last week we took a look at Disney's latest arsenal of rides, and this week we are ranking Universal's newest rides from this past decade. Does Universal's lineup measure up to Disney's? Grab some coffee, pull up a chair, and let's talk about it. Hi, my name's JP and I give you my honest thoughts about theme parks and all things entertainment. This channel is brand new and it would mean the world to me if you would hit that like button, or if you're feeling really fancy, hit that subscribe button and let the almighty algorithm know that you like this video. Last week I talked about and ranked Disney's 13 newest rides that they've released this past decade. If you haven't seen that video, click the link right there. I would recommend watching it because this is kind of a companion piece to that one. Just a disclaimer, I won't break down the entire attraction for you. I'm just going to give you a brief overview and my initial thoughts on each thing, kind of explaining why I put it where I put it. Now, I'm sure that someone's going to watch this video and think that my list is insane, and that's okay, although you're wrong, but that's okay. Let me know your list down below and why you put the ride where you put it. Let's be respectful in the comments section. We're all just trying to have a good time. With that being said, let's kick it off with number 11. Was there any doubt that this would be at the bottom of the list? Fast and Furious Supercharged is the ride that everyone loves to hate, whether it's the massive Vin Diesel the size of a helicopter, the bad CGI, or the fact that they took an attraction in California from the studio tour and just plopped it in Orlando. There's so many reasons to hate this ride, but I'll be nice today and say that the queue is okay to look at. There's some cool cars if you're into cars. If you're a fan of the movies, it could be cool. There's a few Easter eggs sprinkled across the queue for the hardcore fans to find, but if you don't like cars and you don't like the movies, do yourself a favor and skip this attraction. In a park that is known for having too many screens, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon does not do this park any favors. It has an interesting queue though, one that lets you walk around freely and look at different props and memorabilia from The Tonight Show, and occasionally you'll have pop-up appearances from the Ragtime Gals or #The Panda, which is something you just don't see in other attractions, and I don't think that gets enough credit. The ride is the flying theater attraction similar to Simpsons or Despicable Me. If you're a fan of The Tonight Show, you'll see some of your favorite parts of the show, such as the Roots, thank you notes, or some of Jimmy's various characters that he likes to play on his show. This ride for me is simply okay. It's not as good as what came before it, which was Twister Ride It Out, and in that attraction they literally created a tornado in front of you, so that's a bummer. But if you've done everything else in the park, besides Fast and Furious obviously, and want a break from the AC, or you're a fan of The Tonight Show, you should check this one out. Universal's newest coaster. Well, kind of. The Troller Coaster's technically a new coaster, but honestly, it's just Woody Woodpecker with a new coat of paint and a horrifying ride vehicle. The ride recently went under these changes to make way for the all-new DreamWorks Land opening June of 2024. It's a standard kiddie coaster compared to the likes of Barnstormer over at Magic Kingdom. Not much to say about this one. Should you ride this ride? Well, unless you have kids or a weird passion for creepy caterpillars, probably not. This ride had some big ogre shoes to fill, a ride that was beloved by all, Shrek 4D. And you might be wondering, how could this ride possibly live up to the absolute legend that came before it? Well, it can't. Villain Con Minion Blast was dead on arrival. To its credit, it's a really good concept being a converter belt shooter attraction. This ride is just extremely bare bones in terms of theming, and its riders have complained that it's rather hard to keep track of their gun. The guns though are pretty cool. They look very stylish. You can sync it up with your phone and unlock different types of shooting effects and special bonuses when you hook it up with the app. I'm curious to know how many people will use the app. It seems like something that only locals will do. All in all, it's simply mid. And I miss Shrek. Do you like hitting up multiple parks on the same day? Do you hate walking? Well, why don't you hop on board the Hogwarts Express? This is a train that takes you from one park to the other, both ways, although Studios to Islands is the better route in my opinion. Each way has a different ride experience, which is so cool. The theming is cool. You can walk through platform 9 3/4. I am a huge Potterhead, so obviously I enjoy this ride, but at the end of the day, it's just a train that takes you from one park to the other. They didn't have to go that hard when making this attraction, but they did, and I appreciate that. To be honest, I didn't quite know where to put Skull Island Reign of Kong because they currently took away the 3D glasses, which is a bit of a downgrade, but if they bring it back, this ride is definitely one of Universal's better screen rides. The queue is pretty scary. It used to have scare actors in the queue too, which they took out for some reason, probably because too many people were having heart attacks. But there's Jeep ride vehicles, which makes sense for the story, and they don't seem out of place like they do in Fast and Furious. Because there's Jeeps in the jungle. The best part of this ride for most people is probably going to be that last scene where we see this massive King Kong animatronic, although it's not as big as the original Kongfrontation animatronic, but still, that's what makes the ride for me. I was a huge fan of the Terminator 2 3D attraction, so I was nervous when they announced its closure and that Bourne Stuntacular was going to replace it. I haven't seen this one in person yet, but I gotta say, I think this show is a worthy successor. You've got rooftop chases, shootouts, acrobatics, a nice blend of screen and in-person stunts. It's hard to tell where the screen ends and where the live set begins. I haven't seen all of the Jason Bourne movies, but I wasn't lost or confused as to what was going on. This is one I cannot wait to do when I'm back in the parks. Okay, I realize I might be breaking the rules on this one, but this did come out in the past decade, and I think it speaks to just how hard Universal is working to make their parks a 1 week long vacation destination. Volcano Bay opened in 2017. The 3 attractions that people are always raving about when talking about this park are the Krakatau Aqua Coaster, Ko'okiri Body Plunge, and Tiawa the Fearless River, which is essentially a rapids ride. I'd just like to put this out there. While yes, Universal hasn't put out the same amount of attractions as Disney, building a whole new park is something. In fact, you could argue that this adds more rides to Universal's roster with over 15 rides at Volcano Bay. But I know some people consider water parks a different beast than theme parks, but I just wanted to put it out there. Take it as you will. With arguably one of the best queues in all of Universal, inside one of the best lands in all of Universal, it's no wonder why Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts is high on this list. When I first rode this ride, I had not seen any of the books or films, and I was still blown away by the theming, whether it was the giant chandeliers or the goblins, or even how the whole bank itself is slightly tilted. Now, after watching the movies and reading some of the books, it just gets boosted way up on my list. The ride itself, I would compare to Revenge of the Mummy in the fact that you're on a coaster and you're turning, looking at different scenes and screens, but definitely not in the sense of thrill. As long as you don't have super young ones in your party, because there are some scary elements, this ride should be fun for the entire family. This ride is incredible, one of the best coasters ever done. I love the fact that it takes place in a raptor paddock. The whole ride has a sleek, clean feel to it. In the queue, you get to see the raptors up close, and they look fantastic, incredibly lifelike. The ride itself goes 70 miles an hour. As soon as you think it's going to slow down, you get boosted even faster. I love the whole concept of the raptors breaking out and you're dodging the raptors in the paddock. It's worth noting that the lighting package on this ride is just excellent as well, with the blue lights sticking on top of the ride vehicle. The whole locker system is well executed too. It's the first ride where the locker is inside the queue at Universal, and it's double-sided, so you put your stuff in when you're in the queue and then you take it out when you're done with the ride. For us, it works seamlessly. If you like roller coasters, appreciate good theming, it doesn't get much better than Velocicoaster. Well, other than the ride with the longest name ever takes the top spot, Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. On my last trip to Universal, we tried to ride this one and it was delayed, so I was worried I wouldn't get a chance to ride it, but then it opened back up later in the day and we got to ride it at night. And I gotta say, wow, it doesn't get much better than riding a motorcycle through the forest with everyone's favorite giant, Hagrid. He was always the best part of the Harry Potter movies for me. When I first rode this ride, I hadn't looked up any POVs or ride footage because I wanted to be surprised, and man, I was shocked with all the different elements they crammed into this ride. If you like animatronics, it has a ton. If you like smooth coasters, it's very smooth. If you like going fast, this ride goes fast. It beats out Velocicoaster because the theming is just over the top. And of course, my love for Harry Potter is far greater than Jurassic World. Okay, so I've talked about the top attractions from Disney and Universal from the past decade. In the next video, I'm gonna take the top 3 from each of the lists and rank them together. And then by that notion, we will see just who is winning the theme park wars in Orlando. After that, I'm gonna switch gears and review some movies. So let me know what movie you wanna see me talk about and review down below. Just please don't make it a scary movie or else I'll cry. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, or if you're feeling really fancy and you want to help me out, subscribe to the channel. I'm JP, and I'll see you in the next one.